Greetings, dear friends. Let's continue our work. In this lesson, we will work with the subscribe block. It will be semi-dynamic, semi-static. I call such blocks hybrid. We have already done something like this. Let's get started. So, let's create a new branch for ourselves. Off screen, I merged the previous branch with main. Therefore, if you follow my system and also create a separate branch for each block, then merge them. If not, just write the code. I will name this branch block subscribe, and we will work in it. So, why do I say that this is a semi-dynamic, semi-static block? Because the image, title, and description are static information. These will be fields in Gutenberg, a form. This will be a shortcode generated by a third-party plugin. For such things, for the subscribe form, I usually use a third-party plugin that integrates with some external server, or, for example, with MailChimp. And with the help of a shortcode, I directly display the form that I create in this very plugin. We will do the same in this lesson and use MailChimp as the integration for this subscribe form. We need to install this plugin, so let's go to the plugins. As we can see, WooCommerce has already been updated at the time of working. We can update it without any issues right now because we are in the development stage. And it is recommended to always work with the latest versions. While WooCommerce is being installed, I suggest saving the image that we will need. Let's find its block. Let's switch to design mode. So this is the parent block with the image on it. Apparently we need to disable the elements that are inside, and I will export this image in PNG format in this way. And I will return these elements back. So, according to Fodu, we can proceed to the catalog structure. Let's go back. In the Game Store block folder, we are interested in a dynamic block. So we will take one of the dynamic ones for copy pasting. Let's take recent news, Control C. Control V and name it subscribe. We will go through this block regarding the metadata. So its key will be subscribe. Name, subscribe, category Game Store, description, subscribe block. And regarding attributes, regarding attributes, we will need a title. Therefore, we leave the title. We will need a description, and we will need an image. In addition to all this information, we will need one more field to insert a shortcode, so we will add it, also of type string. We will add an additional attribute and call it shortcode. Let's move to editor.js and see what is being loaded. So, inspector control is needed, media placeholder is needed, panel body is needed, text control is needed, text area is needed, internationalization is needed, we leave it, server-side render. In principle, when I do such a thing, it's not necessary for me to use server-side render to either generate the entire block from the PHP code that we wrote. As a rule, for such semi-dynamic, that is, hybrid blocks, I display in the admin panel only what is static. That is, the image, title, and description, and here it will just be empty. Therefore, only for this reason, I remove this site render from here. And instead of the variable count, I will now load the variable shortcode. Let's go through and update the fields. So essentially, everything we will be doing in the blocks from now on is routine. Since we repeat simple things many times, carefully monitoring the components, and we assemble them like Lego. Here we have count, which is no longer needed, so I am cutting it out from here. We have the title, the description is there, it retains the same keys, so we leave it as is. The image is the same, it retains the same keys, so we leave it as is. Add to the last position a regular text field for the shortcode. Instead of the key count, I write shortcode. Instead of value, I will take the shortcode value. parameters. So for the shortcode, I will change the value when switching further. Here inside the body is this body, and as mentioned, it will be semi-static. Therefore, in the admin panel, we will still have this body, meaning deep is cool. Subscribe. No. I will upload an image to the parent, to inner. I will add styles and also attach a wrapper since it goes in the wrapper. Next, here I will use the rich text component. Let's load it. That is, remember, in one of the Bentley's lessons, in the header, I think we had rich text. We used it, but not in the header, in the hero. Therefore, I can copy further, and don't forget that it needs to be loaded from block editor. We load the rich text and add two components to the body. Regarding the layout H1, we cannot have it since in Kira we already have H1. Let it be H2. By class. Here, in principle, it doesn't matter. You can even not set a class. I set it purely for styling purposes. I could attach to it, but it's optional. Because in Hero, we attached by this attribute through the selector, and we save the value inside the HTML. But here, we save the value in the attribute already in the comments. So it's not really important for us here. The same applies here. Essentially, we will only change the selector, subscribe description. So the image, we attach the image to the parent block. For the parent block, we have a function that generates classes, use block profs. So we need to pass all our parameters inside. Therefore, we pass it like this in curly braces. I need to set it through inline CSS, that is, specify the style attribute. I will specify the style attribute. So here we do it this way. And the background parameter will be as follows. I will check my variable image if it has any value. Then I will pass it via the URL. Just don't forget these symbols. Otherwise, I will pass undefined. That is, I dynamically attach the background directly to the container. And if the background is empty, then it will consequently receive undefined. This use block proc, it not only returns classes, it generally returns all attributes for this main parent. Container, if we want to pass some classes in it, then in addition to style, we can pass the class name parameter. And here already, we will pass certain classes. And let's use this, because an idea just came to my mind that I use, but I haven't shown it to you yet. This is already our third block at full width, for which we will need to override the width and make it full width. And we essentially copy these styles, but this is incorrect for such blocks. That is in general in development when you see that some part of the code is repeated, copy-pasted from one block to another, you need to find a solution. And so, to avoid using copy-paste for those specific 4 lines, I create a class called align full. I attach it in such a way to the block where I need the full width, and it's needed where we have images. And essentially these styles that reset them can be set in one place, so you won't have to copy paste, you won't have to drag them back and forth. I'm talking about the styles that we had in the penultimate block. I think it was GameLine, where we used them And even in the news block, we also use them. That's what I'm talking about with these styles. Essentially, we will now have a class, and we won't have to drag these lines from one file to another. Well, we won't be editing the old blocks anymore. We'll leave them as they are. You know, in all future blocks, we will attach these styles using the AlignFull class. Everything is ready on the admin side. I don't attach anything here anymore. Short code, output. I don't generate it. Here in the JavaScript territory, on the front end, remember, in Save.js, we don't write anything because it returns. Well, this is our dynamic block. Let's go register this block. We move to the GameStore.php block, copy the register block type function, submit our new ID, we have block subscribe. Next, we have a callback called viewBlockSubscribe. Let's copy this and create this callback. We move to the PHP block. Create this callback, we have attributes, so we load them immediately. So, essentially in our block there will be no loops, nothing. It will simply return HTML markup. Let's copy this like so. Now I will set the image here in the same way as in the previous dynamic block, but the align class itself, I pass it through block props, that is through this function, and there's no need to extract it somehow, meaning it will already be in this list of blocks, and we close it. I'll copy it like this. The only thing is, reset is no longer relevant here, as we don't have a loop. Image.base, let's copy it too. So we don't have to write this code. We have the same keys. Therefore, we create a variable image bg. We refer to the image attribute. If there is an image there, we add it to the style attribute. Otherwise, we show nothing. In the PHP territory, we need to do this because of this attributes block, although I might be mistaken. By the way, I just thought about it now. The function getBlockWrapper attributes might return all attributes, and most likely this step is unnecessary for me. We will check this now. And just see some test. Let's comment it out like this. And the whole body is ready. Let's move to our admin panel. We stopped at the cameras, so let's add a new plugin. Since we are here, we write the keyword mail, which can be used with any plugin. We use any service. Let's use this most popular one with 2 million active installations. Activate it immediately. Go to the page, open it, and simply add a new block. Well, I don't think I'll punish him. Oh, of course I won't punish him, because I rushed and didn't enable the compiler, and essentially all our code that we wrote doesn't really exist for WordPress, because WordPress never looks at the source directory. Source is all just for developers. It looks at this build directory. We don't have anything registered there. There's no such directory, so it doesn't see it yet. Let's run the compiler. Go into the necessary directory. I entered the directory I need, the current plugin directory. Running the command npm run start. And now everything has compiled, returning back, refreshing the page. Now here it is, subscribe. There it is, wonderful. Let's insert the content right away. We'll make subscribe bold, since it stands out for us. Let's upload the image. Here maybe it's worth adding some style so that this element doesn't overlap. We can manage by adding a line break tag. This also sometimes helps. Here are 2 tags, like this. So, the image goes to the background. Notice, the background immediately expands to 100%. Because on this line full, most likely there is also in Gutenberg, we will see this now. This is important for us. Yes, you see, and line full already has styles. Essentially the same styles that were supposedly rewritten. They exist in Gutenberg. Here we save, go to the main page, refresh. And look at the screen. We have a generated test container, so let's briefly go into it. What I expected, so let's revert back. And as far as I can see, she's even a class line, full to our block. Here the image is attached, the align full class is not attached, therefore we will attach it ourselves like this. Well, and since it returns attributes not only of classes, it still returns attributes it doesn't understand. Such writing needs to be set in an array. In the array, there will be a key, a class, and consequently the key to the class. So, now I hope it will pick it up. Like this, yes, now it adds it, and we will have it full width. Next we will create the remaining containers. We have a div with the class subscribing, and within it a report. We restore the same selectors, the same classes, in that the styles should be inherited and applied both in the admin part and on the front end. Next, inside we will have 2 components. Unești. With a class, and we load it through an attribute by the key title. Next we will have a description. This is already a paragraph with the class. Subscribe description, and by the key description. Next will be the generation of a form. So I copy this line. Again, it will already be in the container. I will create my own separate container, although it's not necessary to create subscribe. Just in case I add it, and then I have a field. The shortcode will contain this very shortcode. A shortcode in WordPress is a structure in square brackets with a keyword, something like that. WordPress, when it encounters this keyword, it kind of generates the corresponding body that is written in the code. But for this shortcode to work, we need to run it through the doShortcode function. For this, I call the doShortcode function and pass this very shortcode inside as a parameter. Currently, I have nothing set in the shortcode. I can simply pass some text, and it will display it on the screen as text as well. Since I haven't created the form yet, no, the shortcode doesn't just display text. It doesn't interpret it. The next step, we need to create this form, already within plugins domain. Let's move to MailChimp. The Forms section. Our form consists of a name, field, an email, field, and a subscribe button. I'm not doing the integration, not connecting to MailChimp itself. The main thing for me now is to generate the form and display it on the page to style it. And we are not inserting API keys. We save the form and take the shortcode. We return to our page. Select the block, add the shortcode, save the page. We return to the front end, refresh the page, and we get a fully functional form. If we look at the source code, MailChimp generates it with all the necessary attributes. In principle, we can test it, but since we haven't completed the MailChimp setup, this data won't be sent where it needs to go. But we see that it works for us. Next, to complete this block, we need to work on the styles. For both areas, the admin panel and the front end, the functionality part is already implemented. We will work on the styles in the next lesson. See you soon.